Okay, thank you for moving your cheese. I know people get comfortable and they don't like to move. We would just like to hear from you a little bit about how you felt that the conference went, and should we be changing anything relative to the educational curriculum. And please don't be shy. For those of you who have been here before, we do this, and it's sort of fun, and we get to hear good things and bad things, and people usually let us know their true thoughts. Would you like to start, Janet?
Father, forgive me. I came here expecting the hotel to be not good enough because it was isolated. But I am leaving the conference enjoying the facility, and I thought it had great array of services. It had enough eating places on site. It had enough entertainment for people to get outside. I chose not to leave the facility to go anywhere, but I felt totally at home and enough things at my disposal. As for the educational program, I thought it was great. We do have the continuing challenge of making sure the plenary folks are high energy, but I still took away good things from every single session. So, and thank you for Covey. Thank you to FACT and Courtview. Thank you for their sponsorship.
It's always hard to pick and choose which breakout sessions you're going to go to because some of them are repeated and you can get to them later and some of them aren't. As a presenter for a session that repeated itself on Monday afternoon and which was a panel discussion, it's extremely difficult to recreate a panel discussion that has a lot of audience participation. So I think some sessions that have panels and have a lot of audience participation maybe should be the ones that aren't repeated, but others that are more one speaker that follow a more consistent format are easier to repeat, and I think we should consider that in the future.
Thank you. Anybody else? I won't pick on you. Her eyes got this big. Nothing else? Well, okay. What do you want in a plenary? We know energetic. I think we just heard. This guy was great, wasn't he? He was great.
What I appreciated was Covey being able to relate to the court environment, and it was truly apparent that he had done his homework. As opposed to earlier plenaries, it didn't seem like the connection was there. So maybe we have to do a better job of maybe educating or bringing them up to speed if they're not as familiar with the court environment so that there's that connection for our audience. That's what I would say mostly on the plenary.
And that prompts me to say, it really is nice if we get a plenary person who is a stranger to the courts and knows enough lingo, not too much lingo, but forces us out of the box and forces us out of our comfort zone to listen to stuff they have from another professional grounding. I think connect the dots. The one plenary guy was trying to do that. Some of us in the audience thought his information was too elementary and too foreign. I'm not so sure it was too foreign. I just think the energy and the passion, if it was stepped up a notch, I think it's really cool when we get speakers that are not from our professional grounding and they force us to look through different glasses.
Agreed. Anything else? Okay, I would like Steph to talk a little bit about the strategic planning process that this organization's been going under, and I'm sure she could get some help from someone if they would like it.
I think Shelley's tired of me deferring to her on strategic planning stuff. As we talked about a little bit earlier this week, the Planning Committee did a complete overhaul of the strategic plan. It's taken us a couple of years, but I think we've come up with a really good plan that we're going to be able to dig into and really use as a living document to kind of guide the work that NACM is doing over the next several years. So what we did was, of course, looked at the mission and the vision statements and revised those first. And then Shelley actually came up with a really good idea. We developed a list of core values that I think you saw at the conference last year. So we've got some core values that will kind of complement the mission and the vision statements. And then we went through and developed a whole action plan with 5 different goals, with strategies and action items under each goal. And we had a session on Wednesday, trying to remember what day I'm on, yesterday. We had a session yesterday during the planning committee's meeting time, and we spent the entire time going over the strategic plan, and we had a number of people that came in and they were really engaged and gave us some really good feedback. So we're going to tweak those, and we'll go back to the board at the board meeting tomorrow, and hopefully get final approval on the strategic plan. Oh, and I probably should have mentioned too that once the subcommittee developed the strategies and action items that they thought were appropriate, we took that and sent it out to all of the committees, all of NACM's committees. So the committees and the subcommittees all got a chance to look at those and make recommendations on what they felt they could do in their areas with the work that they were doing. So we took all of that, combined it all into the strategic plan, and ended up with the product that we have right now. It's on the mobile website, although I've made some tweaks since our meeting yesterday, but the most current version is on the website, and I think there used to be one back here, but I think it's probably gone now. But once it's approved, we'll place it on our regular website so that you all can see it. And if you see something that you think you would like to participate in, if there's an action item that speaks to you in particular, please let us know, because we would love to have as much involvement as we go forward. Any questions?
There he is, Scott. Scott's going to talk a little bit about the national agenda and where we are with that.
Hi, my name is Scott Griffith. I've just finished my first year on the board as an at-large director. I'm from New Orleans. I feel a little bit self-conscious when talking about the national agenda, especially when you look around a small group like this and I see a good number of the faces of a good number of people who were actively involved in drafting the agenda, pushing the agenda, living the agenda. And so I have been very, very humbled and very happy to be the chair of the National Agenda Subcommittee, which is a subcommittee of the Planning Committee. Everyone in this room probably knows that we have a national agenda, but because not all of you may have the 6 principles burned into your mind, let me just read them just very briefly as a point of reference. They are 6 priorities to the national agenda: emphasizing case flow management improvements, sustaining excellence in difficult budget times, enhancing public perceptions of the courts and increasing community collaboration, promoting improved court leadership and governance, preparing for and responding to trends, and supporting professional court management. My understanding was that it was our goal to have each conference, mid-year and annual, focus on one of the priorities. And of course, we've just finished several full days dealing with leadership and governance. And then when I was jotting down my notes of things to say this afternoon, I took a look at what priority we were going to be addressing at the mid-year conference. And I looked back at David Slayton's call for proposals from a month or so ago, and I thought, he's got all 6 worked into there. And it probably is true that even though we just focus on one at each conference, more than one is covered. I think most of you have heard that it's not the cover story, but maybe the feature story in the summer 2012 edition of The Court Manager is an interview with Kevin on the national agenda. It was done with a lot of help, obviously, from Lori Gomez at the center, and subcommittee member Monica Fiorentini from California conducted the interview. And if you haven't seen it, take a look at it. It's a very readable, highly engaging piece that is going to be on the website, on the NACM website, when you click on the National Agenda tab, and it will be really suitable for sharing. Also on the website, you can download a copy of a National Agenda brochure, which is, and I apologize, I don't have copies here, but which is great for handing out. It's been made available. It was at our NACM booth yesterday. I realize folks have seen it, but it's also available on the website. To be on the website soon is a 6-slide template of the national agenda, which we developed really really just to be a template, and we would love for folks to use that, to build it out to meet your specific needs, and let us know how you've built it out. And finally, I just offer an invitation to anyone who wants to become a member of the subcommittee. It's an active subcommittee. It's, I think, a highly relevant subcommittee, and we'd love your involvement. And what I'll close with is, I remember on the very first conference call I was a part of, it might have been the first conference call of the subcommittee, Pam was on the call, and one of the points she stressed was that she really wanted the document to be a living document. And I think that the tools we've developed to help promote the agenda, like the PowerPoint template, are the kinds of things we can use to get information about the agenda out there and to get information back from people, particularly state association leaders who are talking about it, so we can improve the product, and it will sort of all feed back into itself. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott. One of the things that happens in a volunteer organization such as this is you have a lot of volunteers, but they need some leadership in various areas. And the educational agenda was always led by Dale Kasparek. And Dale has done a wonderful job over the past 2 years, and we would be remiss if we did not say thank you with our full hearts, Dale, for all the work that you have done. I'd also like to extend my appreciation to the National Center staff. We've got Linda Perkins that's here, but there's a whole background of people that are working and all year long doing things for this organization, and we thank them as well. I'm now going to give the mic over to David, and David's going to talk a little bit about the mid-year and annual conferences coming up.
Great, thank you. I have big shoes to fill and follow up a great conference, hopefully with exciting educational programming next year. Just want to spend a minute talking about our 2 conferences next year. The Conference Development Committee this year will be working on planning a mid-year conference that's going to be held February 10th through 12th in Los Angeles. We're at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel, which is in downtown LA, and promises to be an exciting venue. We've started off by working with the local jurisdictions there in the nearby area to focus on what their needs might be. But interestingly enough, as they started talking about what their needs were, I felt that they were quite relevant to probably what all of us are struggling with from day to day. So if you saw the call for papers, basically what we're going to do is on Monday talking about making tough choices and how in this difficult environment we're required to make tough choices and how we make them and what the things we should be cutting are and what things aren't. So that's kind of going to be what Monday's all about. And then Tuesday is going to focus on coping with change and how we as court leaders guide our staff through change. LA was talking about the really difficult times of, when you have to when you're laying people off and you're asking them to do more with less, how do you lead them through that change and how do you get the court to go along with those different types of changes that you're asking them to do? So that's going to be the focus of the mid-year conference. We've got in our call for proposals, we had 22 proposals come in, which is quite exciting. We don't have that many sessions, so that means that some of them won't make the cut. But it gives us a great choice to choose from, and we'll be trying to work on getting some exciting plenaries. We have some good ideas on that area. But anyway, if you have any suggestions for content or speakers, that's oftentimes where we get our best speakers, are people who have heard someone speak somewhere else. So please suggest those and feel comfortable doing so. And just like to give this invitation to join us on the Conference Development Committee this next year. We have a short video we're going to play for the mid-year conference, and I'll talk about the annual conference after that, and then we have a video for it. So here's the video on the mid-year conference for next year. For LA.
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much more of the same over the next few days.
That's LA. We're expecting a great conference, and Michelle's promised to bring it and help us out there. So we'll be working with the California courts and LA, and hopefully have a great group from there. It's our first mid-year ever in California, so we'll see how that goes, but we're real excited about the potentials there. Switching real quickly, we will be releasing the call for proposals probably in the next week for the annual conference next summer. And once again, we'll do the same type of format where we'll give plenty of time and we'll have a committee get together and review those proposals. But I want to just give you a little bit of a insight into what the theme is going to be for those conferences. The main theme for the conference is going to be Court Management 2.0. Playing off the theme of what does it need to be as we move into this next time. We've kind of been doing court management. How do we take it to the next level in this new normal? And so what we're going to focus on Monday is what we're calling Generation Robot. And it's going to really kind of focus on pushing the edge of where society is going and where the courts are going to have to be responding to as a society. And so kind of be pushing the edge of our minds on what things are out there and what things we're going to have to be prepared to respond to. On Tuesday, we're going to be looking at, the day is going to be themed around Deep in the Heart. It plays off of the theme for San Antonio, which is Deep in the Heart of Texas. And the focus is going to be that even though we've pushed the edge on where we have to go, that there's still core principles and purposes that we have to remain true to as courts. And then Thursday is going to be what we're going to call Core Competencies 2.0. We fully expect to have the new version of the core competencies, at least the structure and some of the basis for that discussion on Thursday. So the sessions on that day will focus and center around the core competencies and related materials to that. So that's what we're hoping to get back from the proposals, and I hope some of you in this room will think about either yourself or people that you know who might have content around those things and consider submitting those at that time. The dates on that are July 14th through 18th, and again, it's in San Antonio, Texas. So please come to my home state and bring a lot of people with you. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about there. Like I said, that'll be coming out this week. And just one more pitch I'll make is we need people to help us with the Conference Development Committee in ranking the proposals that come in. So if you're interested in doing that, we would certainly like you to volunteer. You can either talk to me after this session or just participate on the calls, and we'll get that out to you. So we also have a video about San Antonio. So we are right on the Riverwalk, and you'll see that in this video. And we'll be at the Marriott River Center there. So here is the video on San Antonio. Maybe. It's coming. While it's waiting, the one thing I want to say too is we're already working on the social for next year, and I promised some Texas flair for the social. We have a location that we're working on securing completely for actually going out to a Texas ranch, giving you a little authentic Texas there. Here it comes.
What moves you? Visit San Antonio and be moved deep, deep in the heart.
All right. Any questions about either of the 2013 conferences? Okay. One question that, real quickly before we get out of here, that some of the National Center folks asked me to ask is, how many of you brought your families with you to this conference? Quite a few. And is that a big deciding factor, or is that something you'd be interested in doing in future conference locations? Yes. Okay, well, just something for the past president to know about. There will be a survey that will ask about that type of things. Please be specific in your feedback. If this is the type of venue that you like, let us know, because that's always something the past president and the site selection committee is always interested in. Okay, well, if there's not anything else, everyone have safe travels back, and we hope to see you in LA or in San Antonio next year. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.